In the relentless march of technological advancement, we find ourselves at a crossroads. The very tools that connect us have also become instruments of pervasive surveillance. Digital surveillance, once fiction, is now a reality, monitoring our every move. From city streets to our homes, cameras and algorithms capture our faces, voices, and thoughts. Our digital footprints reveal intimate details of our lives. Proponents claim it safeguards security, but it also erodes our freedoms. Are we trading privacy for an illusion of safety? This is the story of the invisible eye, technology's allure, and its threat to liberty. It demands our attention and critical thinking. Join us as we explore digital surveillance and its implications. Digital technology seduces us with convenience and connectivity. From smartphones to smart homes, we embrace a world of ease. But we trade privacy for a frictionless existence. Every tap and click generates data, fueling a multi-billion-dollar industry. Our online activity is tracked, analyzed, and monetized. Governments justify mass surveillance for security. The line between security and overreach blurs. Are we sacrificing freedom for security and convenience? Can we claim to be free when every move is tracked? The answer is complex, requiring us to confront uncomfortable truths. Security often justifies surveillance encroachment. We are told sacrificing privacy ensures safety, but the true cost may be greater than we realize. History shows governments exploiting surveillance to target dissidents. Tools meant for safety can become instruments of oppression. Mass surveillance's effectiveness in preventing crime is debatable. Indiscriminate data collection overwhelms intelligence agencies. This leads to resource misallocation and a false sense of security. The illusion of security erodes trust and fosters fear. We must demand transparency and accountability. Only then can we balance security and freedom. Technology should empower, not enslave humanity. The digital age brings unprecedented surveillance capabilities. Proponents argue it's essential for public safety. Surveillance has prevented violence and apprehended criminals. CCTV footage aids in investigations. We are told to sacrifice privacy for peace of mind. But this narrative obscures a more unsettling reality. The line between security and civil liberties is thin. History warns of governments abusing surveillance power. Surveillance can silence dissent and target opponents. We must ask, what level of surveillance is acceptable in a free society? Digital surveillance treats everyone as a potential suspect. Mass surveillance collects data on everyone, regardless of guilt. This approach sacrifices privacy for purported safety. Governments monitor internet traffic, phone records, and social media. Facial recognition tracks us without consent. Predictive policing algorithms can be biased. Treating everyone as a suspect erodes the presumption of innocence. It chills free speech and expression. Mass data collection creates vulnerabilities for hackers. More data means greater risk of exploitation. Digital breaches can harm finances, reputations, and safety. We must question the balance between security and privacy. The consequences of mass surveillance are far-reaching. We must protect our fundamental rights. The private sector plays a significant role in digital surveillance. Tech giants commodify our personal information for profit. Every online move generates data for detailed profiles. This data is sold to advertisers and marketers. We become products in a digital marketplace. Our online activity is constantly tracked and monetized. Smart devices gather intimate details about our lives. Facial recognition tracks our offline behavior. This raises ethical questions about consent and control. Are we free to make choices when our data is manipulated? What happens to our data once collected? We must scrutinize the implications of living in a data-driven world. The attacks of September 11, 2001 reshaped the geopolitical landscape. Governments expanded surveillance powers to prevent future attacks. The U.S. enacted the Patriot Act, granting broad data collection authority. The NSA built a vast surveillance network. Programs like PRISM tapped into tech giant servers. The goal was to prevent terrorism by collecting more data. Critics questioned the effectiveness and legality of mass surveillance. Was the government preventing attacks or eroding privacy rights? We must consider the balance between security and civil liberties. Whistleblowers exposed the extent of post-9/11 surveillance. They risked everything to reveal the truth. Edward Snowden leaked documents on NSA's global surveillance. Snowden's revelations sparked a global debate on security and privacy. Governments defended their actions, citing terrorism prevention. Privacy advocates argued mass data collection violated rights. Whistleblowers like Chelsea Manning exposed abuses. They highlighted the importance of accountability and transparency. Whistleblowers remind us of the need to stand up for beliefs. Even in dark times, individuals can make a difference. Section 3. The Global Panopticon, from Beijing to your backyard. The expansion of digital surveillance is not limited to the United States. From China's sprawling surveillance state to facial recognition in democracies, the global panopticon is becoming a reality. China's social credit system shows how technology can monitor and control society. Low scores lead to penalties like travel restrictions and job bans. While extreme, China's system is not isolated. Russia uses facial recognition to track protesters. India collects biometric data from millions. The US tests facial recognition at airports and borders. As surveillance tech becomes affordable, its use will proliferate. This raises questions about privacy, freedom, and democracy. Silicon Valley's surveillance capitalism. Tech giants commodify our personal data, tracking our digital footprints for staggering profits. Every click, like, and search becomes a data point, revealing our deepest desires. This data fuels targeted ads, shapes behavior, and influences politics. Cloaked in convenience, this system exploits our vulnerabilities and keeps us hooked. The algorithmic gaze. Predicting and manipulating your behavior. Surveillance capitalism predicts and manipulates our behavior with uncanny accuracy. Algorithms, fueled by our digital footprints, forecast our next move with chilling precision. Social media feeds are curated to keep you engaged and enraged. Every interaction builds a model of your interests and emotional triggers. E-commerce giants recommend products based on your browsing history. News aggregators tailor feeds to our biases, reinforcing echo chambers. We risk becoming slaves to digital puppet masters, our choices dictated by algorithms. When convenience comes at a cost. In the digital age, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Services like search engines and social media platforms are not charities. Their business model is built on commodifying our personal data. We rarely consider the true cost of our digital dependence. Every time we click "I agree," we chip away at our digital autonomy. The consequences of data extraction can be deeply personal. Our data can be used to discriminate, deny opportunities, or manipulate us. We must demand transparency, push for stricter privacy regulations, and cultivate skepticism towards a data-driven world. Privacy in the digital crosshairs. Privacy, once a sacred space, is under relentless assault in the digital age. Surveillance technologies and the appetite for data erode our privacy. We are told privacy is outdated, a relic before social media and smartphones. Embrace radical transparency, they say, but privacy is crucial for freedom. Privacy is about control over our narratives and identities. Without it, we are vulnerable to manipulation and coercion. The erosion of privacy has real-world consequences, undermining our freedoms. We must fiercely guard and defend privacy as an essential right. Section 2. The chilling effect, when fear stifles dissent. One of the most insidious consequences of pervasive surveillance is its chilling effect on free speech and dissent. When we know that our every move is being watched, our every communication intercepted, and our every online utterance scrutinized, we self-censor. We hesitate to express unpopular opinions, to challenge authority, or to engage in open and honest dialogue for fear of repercussions. This chilling effect is not always overt or intentional. It can manifest as a subtle shift in our behavior, a subconscious awareness of the invisible gaze that follows our every move. We may avoid clicking on certain links, refrain from posting controversial content on social media, or even steer clear of certain topics in our offline conversations, all because we are aware at some level that our actions are being monitored and recorded. The consequences of this self-censorship are profound. When we are afraid to speak our minds, to challenge the status quo, or to engage in robust debate, society as a whole suffers. Innovation is stifled, critical thinking is suppressed, and the marketplace of ideas becomes a barren wasteland of conformity and obedience. The chilling effect of surveillance is particularly acute for marginalized communities and individuals who are already disproportionately targeted by law enforcement and intelligence agencies. When the tools of surveillance are wielded against those who dare to challenge power, to speak truth to power, or to fight for social justice, the very foundations of a democratic society are shaken to their core. Section 3. A House of Cards: The Fragility of Data Security. In our relentless pursuit of data collection and analysis, we have constructed a digital house of cards, an interconnected ecosystem of databases, networks, and devices that is as fragile as it is vast. We entrust our most sensitive information, our financial records, our medical histories, our most private thoughts and desires to these systems, often without fully understanding the risks involved or the potential consequences of a breach. Data breaches, once a rare occurrence, have become a regular feature of the digital landscape. Hardly a week goes by without news of another company, government agency, or organization falling victim to hackers, malicious insiders, or simple human error. These breaches expose our personal information to the world, making us vulnerable to identity theft, financial fraud, and other forms of digital harm. The problem is not simply that these systems are vulnerable to attack. It is that the very act of collecting and storing vast amounts of data creates an irresistible target for those with malicious intent. The more data we collect, the more valuable it becomes to hackers, cybercriminals, and even hostile nation-states seeking to exploit our vulnerabilities. The consequences of a major data breach can be catastrophic, both for individuals and for society as a whole. Imagine a world where medical records are held hostage by ransomware attacks, where financial markets are crippled by cyber attacks, or where critical infrastructure is brought to its knees by digital sabotage. These scenarios, once the stuff of science fiction, are becoming increasingly plausible as our reliance on interconnected digital systems grows. AI and the automation of surveillance. AI is transforming surveillance, ushering in an era of automated monitoring. Sophisticated algorithms analyze vast data, identifying patterns and predicting behavior. Facial recognition software identifies individuals in real time with remarkable precision. Predictive policing algorithms, often biased, anticipate criminal activity. Imagine AI-powered drones patrolling, scanning for suspicious activity. This is the future of AI in surveillance. The dystopian potential of predictive policing. Predictive policing seeks to anticipate criminal activity before it occurs. Proponents argue it can deter crime and make communities safer. Critics warn it may reinforce biases and punish people for crimes they haven't committed. The algorithms are often shrouded in secrecy, making accountability difficult. Even if accurate, pre-crime raises ethical questions about free will and due process. Imagine being stopped by police because an algorithm flagged you as high risk. Security must not come at the expense of our fundamental freedoms. Section 3. The Slippery Slope: From Data to Discrimination. As we amass ever-growing mountains of data, a chilling truth emerges. This data can easily be used to discriminate, to marginalize, and to silence. Algorithms are not neutral. They reflect the biases in the data they are fed. Imagine facial recognition technology leading to wrongful arrests, or credit scores denying loans and housing, entrenching inequalities. The potential for data-driven discrimination extends far beyond these examples. We must be vigilant in guarding against the use of data for discriminatory purposes. We must ensure that technologies empower, not enslave, and build a future where everyone thrives. A defining moment for freedom. We stand at a crossroads where our choices about technology, privacy, and freedom will echo for generations. The digital revolution threatens the foundations of a free society. Surveillance and data commodification track our every move. This future is not inevitable. We often choose it through inaction or misplaced faith. We rarely consider the true cost of our digital dependence. We can choose a different path, where technology empowers and privacy is cherished. The time for complacency is over. Reclaiming our digital selves, a call to action. The fight is far from over. A growing movement is pushing back against surveillance, demanding transparency and accountability. This battle requires a sustained effort, engaging citizens, policymakers, technologists, and activists. Educate ourselves about the costs of surveillance and debunk the myth that privacy is at odds with security. Demand transparency from corporations and government agencies, pushing for clear privacy policies and robust data security. Support privacy-enhancing technologies like encryption and decentralized networks. Hold elected officials accountable for enacting strong privacy laws and opposing mass surveillance. Protecting our data is about protecting our freedom and autonomy. Reclaim our digital selves and reassert our right to privacy as a fundamental human right. Section 3. A future worth fighting for towards a more just and equitable digital age. The digital age holds immense promise for humanity. It can connect us, democratize information, and create a just world. But this potential requires us to fight for technology to be used for good, not control. The future depends on our choices, not algorithms. Will we embrace surveillance or fight for freedom? We must demand a digital world reflecting our values and aspirations. We are not alone. Many work tirelessly to protect our privacy and freedoms. Let us draw strength from their example and work together for a future where technology empowers.